Well, welcome back, everybody, to the Raider Roster Report. This is Raider Sparks. Thought I'd come at you tonight with a episode here, get a quick update on the top 30 visits and kind of what the Raiders have been up to. I know we started some of the conditioning camps, and sounds like pretty much everybody's in camp except for Trayvon Mullen, which is a little disappointing. I'm not sure if he showed today. I understand he wasn't there the first day, but it is voluntary, so we'll see what's happening with that. But anyways, good to see all the Raiders are coming by. And again, thanks everybody for subbing. Hopefully, everybody that listens today can go ahead and give me a sub, give me a like. But more importantly, share your comments and thoughts. What's going on with Raider Nation? Talk to me a little bit about some of the visits. You know, what you players you like, players you don't like. Um, yeah, let's have a little talk around. I guess a little bit of free agency, but we're getting real close to the draft, so it's only a couple weeks away, or even maybe less than that. So it's almost draft time, so it's getting to be that time. But anyways, it's all good to see. Just an update. I mean, I don't know why Trayvon Mullen's not in camp. We've had visits with 7 different cornerbacks, including the most recent Isaac Taylor Stewart out of USC. So that's 7, and so. I don't know. It's kind of odd, but anyways, we'll see what's going on with that. But the Raiders did have some visits today. Jonathan Ford out of Miami. You can see by the picture, the dude's a specimen. And I'll get more detail about the players, and we'll do a full breakdown before the draft of the players we visited. But anyways, just a big dude, like 330 pounds, 338 pounds, nose tackle, pretty athletic guy. And so, but yeah, so we brought in a nose tackle. We also brought in Tino Ogbenani from UCLA, again, another nose tackle. So that gets us up to 5 defensive linemen. So Aziz out of Minnesota, a defensive end. He played so that Cleveland Farrell role, that 4-5 technique and occasional 3 technique. Devontae Wyatt, obviously that's probably the best one, is a 3 technique type guy. Jaden Peavy can play up and down the line, but kind of more nose than anything. And then the 2 guys we brought in are basically nose. Would play basically nose in our system as well. So that's 5 defensive linemen, 7 quarterbacks. So it's kind of leading me down the path of sort of where we're going in the draft. It's looking heavily like we're going D tackle or D lineman, I should say, or cornerback. So far, not a lot of offense. There has been 3 the receivers and 2 or 3, depending on which site you look at, tight ends. So we'll see if anything goes on there. That's sort of what we have. There's only 1 offensive lineman, and tonight I'm going to get into some offensive lineman stuff, some late round sleepers, because it looks like that's kind of where we're going with this draft, is to get. And I'm sure we'll draft a lineman. Is my thought is just that it looks like by the visits that have happened, it looks like we're going to be targeting our linemen very late in the draft, or even UDFA type styles. So. And then a virtual visit was done today by Rashaad White out of Arizona State. So that's great to me. I think he's a very good player. So I would be really happy to have him come in and compete for that 3rd running back spot. Definitely. So, and also, don't want to start rumors, but I mean, we don't know if Kenny and Drake fully is back. Apparently he is, because I don't think they would have extended his contract the way that they did. But you never know. But the Rashaad White would be fantastic, number 3, and we might even carry four running backs and a fullback on the roster. I know I look back at previous depth charts for New England, and they would often keep 4 running backs and a fullback for their offense. So I don't think that's out of the question. Even though we have a good running back competition going on right now. So if we were to somehow draft Rashaad White, that'd be great. And the thing is, I think that would have to be pretty late in the draft or later in the draft, like 6th round or so. So I don't think we'd use our 3rd or 4th or our 2/5 on a running back, but maybe the 5th. Maybe as early as the 5th, we take a running back if we really have the right one that we want. But we just have so many other needs right now, and just kind of looking at the visits and just looking at the numbers. Obviously, D tackle and or defensive line and quarterback are the 2 positions that are greatly standing out. So, anyways, I just want to touch on those guys. Some updates on that. And then we'll kind of get into some offensive linemen that I think the Raiders could target later in the draft, and we'll kind of go from there. So it's interesting the way the draft is set up. So Josh McDaniels, when he was in Denver as a head coach for 2 years, he drafted I believe, four offensive linemen. Yeah, four offensive linemen, and unfortunately, those four offensive linemen didn't do well. You probably won't even recognize them. Eric Olson, J.D. Walton was okay. He actually did fine. Zane Beatles, I guess, and Seth Olson. None of those guys really took off. J.D. Walton was probably the best. He had 58 career games. He started 2 years in a row. He played in all of the games, so he was a pretty solid pickup. The other three didn't really have very strong careers. Only like 23 games for Eric Olson, 14 for Seth Olson. So not really a strong draft. So that's something to consider. But the one thing that one of the reasons why I want to look at it is because they definitely stayed to their type, or Josh McDaniels stayed to his type on the interior. And typically, and I've talked about this on the channel before, but usually the interior offensive linemen, two guards and center, are usually around 6'3". They have close to a 5 or so 40, but mainly a 7'5" or so 3-cone, at least a 95-inch broad jump, 28-inch vert. Kind of in that range. And these guys all sort of fit the bill. They didn't quite have the 40 times, but they had close to the other ones. And I think that might be the reason why they didn't pan out as well. So he drafted them either in the sixth round, the fourth round, and J.D. Walton, who was the best of the bunch, was picked in the third round. And he was the closest to the numbers they typically get. Um, so So yeah, for what that's worth. So he was the one that was closest. So I think that's their formula. But if you look at the Patriots did a great job like drafting Joe Thuney, Shaq Mason. So those guys, they hit the numbers of the benchmark. So but they were drafted in the third and fourth rounds of their respective drafts. Another guy like Ted Karras was drafted in the sixth round. So he had a great career. He still is 93 games. Didn't quite have those numbers, so didn't quite have that huge of an impact, but still a solid player. So they try to get players in that range, and all of those guys are in that 6'1.5" to 6'3" range. They're all in the sort of 300 to 310 range. Like Joe Thuney, 4.95 40, 7.47 3-cone, 4.54 short shuttle, 110-inch broad jump with 28.5 vertical, which is exactly what they look for. And look at the career he had. And Shaq Mason, 6'1.5", 311, but 4.99 40, 7.53 3-cone, 4.65 short shuttle, 108 broad jump, and 30 vertical. Look at the career he's had. So I mean that's sort of their MO, and it would be interesting to see if we start making those changes. I mean, Andre James is close to that, so I don't think they worry too much about the height as much as they do the rest of it. But Andre James has pretty much all of that except the height. So he's athletic enough, and Colton Miller, they typically have a very athletic left tackle, and so Colton Miller fits that image. But our guards don't necessarily fit that from a size perspective. From a height with Leatherwood, Leatherwood fits everything else pretty much. The weight is a little bit high, but I think he's gaining weight to be a tackle, so that's my opinion on Leatherwood. John Simpson's just heavier, right? He's like Sawyer, who we brought in, so we may be making a shift. We may be seeing a shift here because Sawyer and Simpson are very similar, height-wise, strength, size-wise, that type of thing. So that could be a thing that we're possibly going to. But if we stick to the formula of what has been successful for them in the past, one guy to really keep an eye on out of Mercer is Jason Poe. Depending on what website you look at, he's 6'1.5" or he's 6'2". It's strange. 295 or 300 pounds. There's a couple different things. I think he probably played maybe at 300, 305, but maybe dropped for the combine or his pro day, I should say. But phenomenal. He ran a 4.95 40, a 7.52 3-cone, 4.52 short shuttle, 111 broad jump, and a 31.5 vertical, and 34-inch or 34 bench press. He do benches like 500. I mean, he's super super strong, dude. And athletically, he meets every single one of the requirements that would make him a special talent on the line. So I put him first as a sleeper for the Raiders to get. I think that athleticism, that strength, that explosiveness at that size is exactly what the Raiders look for. And so keep an eye on Jason Poe out of Mercer. I know it's a small school, but a lot of interior linemen come from these small schools. So definitely keep an eye on him. And this is going to be a later round pick, so it's worth. I think it's worth the effort. I mean, just athletically, I mean, just fantastic. He meets the requirements even better than like a Joe Thuney or Shaq Mason, right? So he's a gifted player. So let's look for him. Let's see if the Raiders end up taking a meeting with him. And the other guy that I kind of like for the Raiders is Doug Cramer out of Illinois. And again, I like a lot of other linemen. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you have your Cam Jorgens, Zach Toms, Dylan Parhams. Dylan Parhams is kind of off on some of the targets, like the three cone and the vertical. He doesn't really have those. Donovan West is pretty good. He just doesn't have the 40. He's a little slow on that. Ed Ingram is a nice. He just doesn't have the three cone. He's got everything else. I really like Cole Strange just because it's Cole Strange because of the strength, and he actually has everything except he's 6'4", which is fine. So I personally out of Chattanooga, I really like Cole Strange to be a Raider, but where he's going to be drafted, and just kind of going off of what I said earlier about the players that's visiting it now, the 7 cornerbacks and the 5 defensive tackles. It's looking like that's where our first couple of picks are going to be, and Cole Strange is going to be most likely a 3rd round pick, and so our chances of getting him. Same with Ed Ingram. Same with all the guys I've actually just mentioned. Zach Tom. I know Zach Tom is tackle or guard. It could be both, but. Yeah, so those are guys that really fit the profile for the Raiders. I just don't think they'll be available for the Raiders. I'm not even sure they'd be there at 86 overall. Some of these guys. So, but anyways, Doug Cramer, 6'2", 305, ran a 4.95 40. His only issue was the 3 cone is 7.82, but a 4.62, which is really good. Short shuttle, 109 broad jump, a 29.5 vertical, which meets their criteria, and 26 on the bench press, so he's strong as well. He plays guard and center. I think it's okay to say like Alex Bars, right? I mean, we've got some of these guys that we brought in to play sort of that guard center role, but it wouldn't hurt to bring competition, and especially a late round pick and use it on a late round pick. And so if we fill our needs early in the draft, like we get our cornerback or defensive tackle or 2, who knows how many we're drafted, and I think we have a linebacker. And a receiver. Obviously, we've brought in 3 or 4 receivers, depending on where you look. So that's a need too in the draft. But we only have 5 picks. My personal thought is we're probably going to end up with 6 somehow. I think somebody's getting traded. I'm not sure. I'm going to predict who it is. I just think something like that might happen. Mullen not being there, who knows? There may be something happening there, or maybe he's just not there because it's voluntary. I don't know. I'm not starting the rumors, but those are some of the guards I like, and just some 2 late round targets that I think would be very good for the Raiders to consider. And I'm just kind of looking to see if they get an invite, and see what happens there. And so then let's turn to tackle a little bit. There's several tackles I like for this draft. There's only a couple that I think that we could possibly get that could start. Abraham Lucas fits the criteria perfectly. I don't know if he's going to fall to 86 or not, but if he's there and some of the other guys are doing the visits with us, that would be a tough choice because he really does fit the mold. Some other guys that I like, Sean Ryan, I know he's got the shorter arms, but he still has the length, the wingspan, and he has all of the measurables as well. 5'2", 840 for a guy 323 pounds, 460, 3 cone, 110, broad jump, 35 vert. I mean, Sean Ryan at UCLA is really good, but he's probably a 2nd round pick, maybe 3rd. Same with Abraham Lucas. I think Abraham Lucas is a 2nd round pick just because of the value of the tackle position, but he could fall to the 3rd. Sean Ryan, he's a tackle. He played a lot of left tackle. I like him for right tackle because of his run blocking ability, but some people may value him more as a guard, which I can understand because he only has 32-inch arms. So if that's the case, he may fall to the third round, and in which case then the team will have to make a decision if they're tackle needy. Maybe they get him. So, but anyways, I wanted to talk about a couple other guys. Oh, one of the guys before I get into is Logan Bruce. I really like him out of Wisconsin. It's just I didn't like some of his footwork. I kind of like him at guard just because of his strength. So that would be interesting. But they have him as a fourth rounder. I don't like him in the fourth round. I like him more in the fifth and sixth rounds. But I like him at guard better than tackle because of his quickness is not great. His 3 cone was 7.57, which is actually pretty good. So I should probably revise that actually. I like Logan Bruce a lot. So, next time I will add him on here because he's a very good player. He's from Wisconsin, and I saw Walter's mock draft. They have him in the fourth round, so maybe that's an area that we need to kind of look at. He's 6'5", 316, a 5.32, 40 was a little higher, but a 7.57 3 cone, which is perfect. A 4.55 short shuttle, but 112 broad jump and a 31 vert. So, yes, I'm putting Logan Bruce on notice right now of possibly being a Raider. So we're going to add him to this, and yeah, let's go ahead and put him on there. But let's talk about Devin Cochran right now. 6'7", 314. He ran a 5.08 at that size. Is awesome. He's from Georgia Tech. He's got an 86-inch wingspan. 3 cone, not great, 7.64, but a 4.71 short shuttle, which isn't great, but 112 broad jump and a 30 vertical and 23 reps on the bench press. Very explosive athlete. I would have liked to see that 3 cone better, but his only knock, really, that I've been reading on is his age. He's like 24 years old. He is what it is. He's an older player. So we'll see what happens with that. But definitely somebody to keep an eye on, possibly a UDFA or a seventh round pick. Played a lot, mainly left tackle, but maybe we bring him in as a swing tackle to compete with some of the other guys at the swing tackle spot. See if we can't develop him. And again, these are all sort of guys that we'd have to develop. Although Logan Bruce might be able to just start right away. I should probably revise my slide, but anyways, Devin Cochran, keep an eye on him. Zachary Thomas out of San Diego State, very athletic player and somebody that we should keep an eye on. He the Oinaka is 6'4", 308, 4.96 40, awesome. 7.40 3 cone, 4.65 short shuttle, 107 broad jump. 168, 20, 10 split, but his problem, his vert, 22.5. I don't know how you have 107 broad jump and a 22.5. I did read something that he hurt his hamstring, so I need to follow up on that a little bit and see if he actually maybe got hurt during it, or because that just seems very off to me with that other rest of the athletic profile. But yeah, he played guard, or he played tackle for San Diego State. So, and they had a very good running attack. So I think he's somebody that could come in and possibly compete as well for that right tackle spot. So, and he's Cam Thomas's brother. So another very athletic profile. And so I just wanted to point that out. And then Obena Ezzy out of TCU. Very good play. Played at the Shrine Bowl. He caught my attention there at the Shrine Bowl. And so I wanted to get him on here. Another reason I wanted to put him on is because the Patriots in the right tackle's position has been, for a longest time, that's been as bigger is better, right? Your Trent Browns and your Marcus Cannons is really massive dudes, and in 2020 they drafted one really big dude, and they drafted a more athletic tackle. So they're kind of it looks like the Patriots started to sort of transition what they were doing at the tackle position. So that's something to kind of keep an eye on and see where we go. Obviously, we brought back Brandon Parker and stuff, but if we were looking to get more athletic and smaller, then Leatherwood would be the fit, right? So, but we did sort of the same thing, like Brandon Parker and Jermaine Illuminor, sort of the bigger, that 325, 330 type player. Actually, Brandon Parker might even be bigger than that. I'm not sure right now. I don't have his weight in front of me right now, but regardless, I mean, it just depends on where we go. And so if we're going to go, I kind of listed the smaller, like Leatherwood size players, that 3 kind of 15 range. But Obena, on the other hand, is a 6'8", 327 pound dude. with like an 86-inch wingspan. Devin and Cochran, I should have mentioned, an 86-inch wingspan as well. So those very long, tall, very athletic. So Obena 5'17", 40 at that size, but an 8'2", which is not good. 5'08" is not good, but 104 broad jump and a 27.5 vertical still. So still has that athleticism. Probably would be a project, but definitely somebody to keep an eye on. So I think it's something to possible, and we might know a little bit more to see if Leatherwood comes in heavier. If he comes in, at that 325 range, well, then we're going to know he's playing tackle, and that's the tackle sides they're looking for. If they report something during camp for the draft of him playing tackle at like 312, 315, then again, we know the type of tackle they're looking for, right? We can kind of narrow it down a little bit to a couple of these other guys. So, and that would actually fit Abraham Lucas as well. That would be like perfect. So, and then the flip side of that would be Sean Ryan, right? If we were going to go heavier, then he's just a bigger dude. So, we'll see what happens there. Then I kind of did a bonus. Blaise Andrews, he plays guard and tackle as well. Played right tackle and played a lot of guard as well. But a pretty nice athletic profile for him. I'm sorry, where did I put his profile at? Let's see here. Here it is. So again, 80-inch wingspan out of Minnesota, 6'7", 315. Ran a 4.10 40, which is really good. 7.843 counts so slower, but for a guard, doesn't quite fit their profile. But we're talking about a late round pick here. 4.68, but he had 106 broad jump, was really good, and a 30.5 vertical leap. So he has an explosiveness in his game. So I just threw a bonus in here just to say, hey, you never know. Maybe we need a guard tackle, somebody to come in and compete. Maybe he goes undrafted as well. So, anyways, I just wanted to share some offensive linemen I think the Raiders could be looking at late in the draft or UDFA, and just mainly kind of seeing who they bring in, because so far they've only brought in one offensive lineman, and guard Jermaine Serrier out of Georgia. So like a 6'3" guy, but like 320, 303 pound dude. So big dude, kind of like John Simpson type. Super strong dude. And so they brought him in. He played a lot of tackle in Georgia. Played some guard too. And I think he's more of a guard in the NFL. I don't know if he's got the foot quickness, but maybe he could get away at right tackle. A possibility there. So I'm not sure. They brought him in to interview him for tackle or guard, or maybe both. So we'll see. But just trying to get a feel for what they're going to do on the offensive line. And so, yeah, let me know. Please like, share, subscribe to the video. Share your comments. Let me know who you guys like as some really late round some guys. Obviously, Jason Poe, watch for him. I'm going to watch and see if he gets a visit, because that's a guy right there. That athletic profile is definitely should be intriguing to the Raiders. So, anyways, that's all I got. This is Raider Sparks, and everybody have a great night.